Hello, magical beings. It is already the end of 2024, which means that as a professional dice maker, I have made quite a few sets of dice this year, but only 4 of them have made it into this video of my best dice creations of the year. So we are going to go through and we are going to look at those sets of dice and why those ones are, in fact, the best. What do we mean by best? Well, this is pretty subjective. As the maker, I have a different lens that I view my dice through. These might not be your personal favorites, but I consider them the best of my work for a variety of reasons. It might be that they turned out exactly the way that I intended them to, whether I was trying to create a specific vibe or tell a story with these dice. It could be that they were technically difficult for me to make, or they required me to use a new material or to innovate in some way. Or I could just be totally biased, and these are in fact the favorites that fit my sensibilities of what I like in a set of dice. To start, we're going all the way back to like a January, February timeframe. During this time, I was doing like some commissions, but also I was working on a collection that launched in February. This collection was called the Courtship Collection. It was all about romantasy vibes meet dice. So each set was based off of a different trope found in romantasy, romance and fantasy style books. The set that I want to talk about specifically is Smitten. Now, why do I think Smitten is the best of this collection, despite it not being the most popular? Because I think it hit the vibe that I was going for the most with this set of dice. Smitten was meant to be like first love, infatuation, that like bubbly, effervescent feeling you get, the little butterflies, when you like see your crush across the way and you like don't even know what to do about it. With this set, I feel like I captured that really well. Why do I think that? Because the elements that I used represented different feelings that are associated with being smitten. I used this like nice shimmery pink that sort of was meant to represent that bubbly feeling. There's delicate bits of lace, which are very breakable, very fragile, which is essentially what a new like crush feels like. Then there's the gold ink, right? It's very luxurious. It's gilded. I'm gonna be totally real with you. Half of everything that is on this list is inked in gold. I am biased, and I don't care who knows it. This is my best, so you know what? That's just fine. Next up, we're gonna skip quite a few months. It's not that there weren't great things that I was working on. It's just that I also brought those things back later in the year. So because those things come back later and I did even more of them, we're gonna put those towards the end. But every now and then I do fully custom commissions for our Patreon supporters. This one was a Jaws inspired set. Now, if you don't know anything about me, which you probably don't, let's be honest, I was terrified of sharks as a child. Like, I watched too much Little Mermaid, and there's that one scene with the shark and he's chasing after Ariel. Ever since then, sharks have absolutely terrified me. We once on a family vacation were at Waikiki Beach, and we were learning to surf, and the underside of the board cut my thumb. I had blood running down my hand, and I was convinced that I was going to die of a shark attack because we had read about a shark attack on Waikiki Beach, which of course it was a surfer in like class the week before we left. So all that to say, I am very proud of myself that I did a whole shark-inspired set. The cool thing about this set is that I got to use real fossilized shark teeth. Now this was an extra challenge because I wanted to make sure that people weren't like killing off a poor shark to do this. So I had to go and research how to find ethical shark teeth, and I ended up finding a couple who they go and they forage for shark teeth. That's like their business, is they just have a few places they told me exactly what beach it was from as I got all these shark teeth. The other interesting thing about working with shark teeth was making sure that they were visible while also embracing the colors that I really wanted to embody in the set. Because we wanted that blood in the water kind of vibe, Dark reds are actually really tricky to work with because a little goes a very, very, very long way. I had to balance making sure that it was still visible, but it didn't overtake the dice and completely cover up the teeth themselves. I think in the end, I did pretty well at this. Could I continue to refine this and do even better? Probably, but since I was only doing a one-off set for this customer, I think that I did pretty well, and I'm proud of how they turned out. So, Jaws, everyone. The moment you've all been waiting for. The Bouquet Commission Set of the Year. Yes, I have done a lot of bouquet commissions this year. The way that these work is that customers send me their florals from a special bouquet. Most of them are wedding bouquets. And then I take those florals and I put them into a set of dice. These are complicated in the sense that each floral is hand placed by me into the mold, and then it's a double cast. I first make them in the shapes of the dice, but there's no numbers. That way, in case there's any bubbles, imperfections, I can fix those before we go on to another cast where I add the numbers on. This is extra important because I'm working with something that's like kind of important to people. Wedding flowers, a little bit sentimental, if you can imagine that. So, of all the sets that I've done this year, there's been some favorites, but I think this one takes the cake. Reasons that I extra love this set, the flowers they sent me, mwah, like chef kiss, immaculate. What makes a good floral for this type of design? The flowers need to be varied, both in size, in texture, and in color. This commissioner just happened to send me the most delightful combination of florals to make their set. You can see there's these like big daisies. We've got the variety of pressed flowers. The forget-me-nots were mostly pressed, which meant that they had a really nice like window that they would lay on the flat surfaces of the dice. I also, not to toot my own horn, but a little bit, I think I did a great job on making sure that these florals were in a place where they could really shine in the dice. Are there a few little bubbles? Yeah, but you're working with mass amounts of florals. It's really hard to get absolutely no bubbles despite casting these under pressure. And of course, it's got gold ink. I have a type, what can I say? So this commission for me takes a spot as my favorite of the year, just for being so whimsical, dreamy, and just like a complete 10 out of 10. And last but certainly not least, we have a set from the seasonal collection. Now, this collection was designed specifically for the Paravel Ball, which we vended at in LA in November. The theme of the ball was Fae Revelry, so each attendee picked which seasonal court they wanted to be a part of for the ball itself. So, of course, I knew this would fit our brand, Equinox, perfectly, and that I was going to make a design based on each season. My personal favorite ended up being the summer design. Why is the summer design the best? I think it's just the complexity of the design that works cohesively together. There's clear resin within the dice that create windows so that you can see what's going on within, but there's also this like shimmery blue, which is meant to look like sparkling water, as well as this really pale opaque green that I wanted to give that like fresh summery feel, almost like the smell of like fresh cut grass, along with the botanicals that are inside, I think really blended well together. And I'm proud that this design really does feel like summer. Of course, that also has gold ink, which it just looks so nice. It's like sunshine that is just on the edges of the dice. And in our Gothic designs, just those little edges are just mwah, fantastic. I absolutely love how they turned out. So those are my top picks for best dice design done by myself of 2024. Out of these, which one is your favorite? Not gonna lie, going through this, I already have ideas of what I'm hoping to make next year, and it's got me excited. So we'll see where that leads us. Have a natural 20 kind of day.